I think the first thing I want to ask you is, what was something that you were searching for in terms of a program like this? What were you looking for before joining?
I think something where I was looking for a kind of program and a routine and a way of doing things that, is well established and that has proven to be working for people. But then on top of that is specifically tailored for my needs, like for my background, as like an Asian man, like definitely like a program that's like specifically tailored to me and like my diet and like my habits. So I think that was what I was looking for.
And in terms of the whole program, because you were here for about 4 months, what were your results? Like, where were you when you first started? And then where are you right now after 4 months?
I mean, I had been working out, but then definitely not taking it too seriously. Like, oh, I'll just go when I can. Like, not really feeling like if I walk into the room, like I'm like one of the more fit like people in the room. But definitely now, like, definitely have more confidence in myself. Like walking into a room, like I know like where I'm at, like physique wise, like I still got of course like a lot of room to grow. Like 4 months isn't gonna like make you like absolutely shredded, like 10% body fat or something, but then I think it definitely really firmly turns you into the right direction where like even beyond the program, like like you can keep going by yourself and you can be confident in that and you feel confident like getting out of the program. So like right now I feel very confident in myself.
Yeah, love it. It's funny because, when I mentioned about, where were you before and after, you went straight into the confidence side. Whereas most people who talk about, fitness and getting in shape, they're like, oh, I'm wondering like how much did Gary lose? What was his body fat percentage? How much what is his results? So it's kind of funny how you mentioned confidence and like how you've leveled up because I remember our first call, bro. Like you were like you're debating whether or not to join the program, and then the way that you talk now is very, very different. What kind of results besides the confidence? Like let's talk about like the fitness stuff. Where were you before and where are you right now?
Have stayed around the same weight, but then within reason for like my height. So I don't want to really compare with other people, but like I would say like I'm stayed about the same weight, which is still within reason for my height. Like technically on the lower end still, but then in terms of the overall composition of my body, like definitely less body fat and more muscle, and just overall feel more fit and capable of doing all different types of workouts. Overall, like I'd say like yes, I've definitely gotten more fit. Like if you're just asking in terms of strength, like I definitely feel like I've gotten stronger. But then I guess like I think a lot of people will be chasing numbers, like, oh, like how much can you bench? Of course I can bench more, but then or like, how much weight I've lost, or like, what's my body fat percentage. But like if you chase the numbers too much, like that, this is like my perspective, like my personal opinion, like I think when you chase the numbers too much, like you kind of lose sight of like why are those numbers there in the first place. Like the numbers are there to be able to like measure your progress and get to a certain kind of goals. Like like why do we work out in the first place? Like of course like it's to get healthier, but then like the point of working out is to become more confident. Like it's not really about like, oh, are you like what is the number on like the bench press that you're doing, right? Like it's all about like what is the feeling, like do you feel that like time under tension through that? So even if you have to go down in weight, like as long as you still feel that same amount of tension and you know difficulty, like I think that's all that matters. So that's kind of like how I see that connection between the gym and confidence. It's like really at the end of the day, it's like how you feel and how confident do you feel, and it's not really about specific numbers, although those are helpful in tracking.
Confidence like is very intangible, right? It's like, oh, how do you feel confident? How do you look confident? So in your own words, man, like how has the difference between, before and right now, how has confidence changed the way that you look at yourself, that you manage your relationships? I mean, you're also in a relationship right now. Like how has your confidence changed within yourself, your environment, your friends, your family? How has that all been right now?
I just feel, like I am fit, like I'm capable of doing all of these things, like not just like physical appearance, but then like, I'm capable of going out there and like doing all the things that I want to do. And it might not take, the first try, might take the second try, but like, I know that I can do it. In terms of like my relationship with like other people, like I think definitely like the confidence that I exude, like it does tend to rub off on people, and it just makes like you are like the people that you hang out with. So like, as I've been trying to become more confident, like I start, naturally surround myself with people that are also confident, that and are also self-assured. And then in terms of like the relationship side, like, for the guys that are like hearing this, I think that it really does take working on yourself. And like, I feel like whenever we think like, oh, like, I'm not gonna go into a relationship, or like, oh, my relationship's going bad right now, I'm gonna take some time to work on myself. Like, but like people don't really think about like, what does that actually mean? I think what it actually means is to be able to like derive your sense of like worth and like satisfaction from like just knowing that like you're enough, like you as an individual are enough. And then like a relationship is just something that's like a good addition to that. But like you as an individual, as a single person, like are enough, like your girlfriend or like, partner, like they just are, just the cherry on top, but then they're not the whole reason why you are who you are, or why you're happy. And I think like, and I'm not saying like, I'm not happy with my relationship. Like, I am happy in my relationship, but then I also know that like, they're not like the entire reason for it. So like, I also feel like subconsciously, like I put a lot less stress on like my girlfriend to like, or like, I try to like not expect all these things, because I feel like it like puts stress on them. And then it also puts a lot of like, it kind of sets me up to be disappointed if I'm like constantly doing that.
It seems like you're more secure about yourself. Like you are happy, 100% happy with who you are, and having that extra person to just give you more value, and vice versa, you giving value to that person as well. So it's super cool to hear that from you. And it's so important because we go into relationships or friendships trying to be happy, trying to seek that happiness when happiness is already within ourselves. So I'm super happy to hear that with you, because I think that's, I don't preach myself as a dating coach or relationship coach. Like I'm here for more self-love. And that's why we use a gym as a catalyst to feel more confident, to be able to do things that we can do while being single, but also elevate each other and find those relationships that help everybody else in the world. You know what I mean? So, I think a couple of things I would love to address is, as well as, you're eating Panda Express right now. So it's kind of funny that I'm gonna ask this question. It's like people who see the ad, people see, and he's like, oh, can you get lean eating rice and noodles and your favorite foods and Asian food? Like, have you been able to eat your favorite foods? Have you been able to adapt? Or was this just all a scam and there's so much restriction? I've told you to stop eating X, Y, and Z, but I want to hear from you. Like, were you able to stick to a diet that worked for you? Were you able to eat Asian food? What was your diet meal plan protocol like?
Yeah. Um, I would say that in terms of that, I think there always has to be some kind of balance. Like you can't always just cancel stuff out, because like that's how diets fail. Like when you tell people like you can never eat this, you can never like eat that, like don't even think about like eating that. So I think in terms of how I like to think about it is I like to have like a solid core of food that I know is like super, super, super macro friendly. Like it's, high in protein, low in fat, high in fiber, and good in terms of micronutrients. And then I have that core that I'm able to eat, or would be willing to eat like every single day. And then like that is like a solid foundation in which I could build like all these extra meals on top of that, can be unhealthy, or like or like a little bit heavier in that regard. But then like I know that like as long as I stick to like that foundation, that foundational food, then I'll be good. So for example, I mean, I guess like for example, like say on the weekend, like I know I'm gonna go out for dinner with some friends, and then it's probably not going to be the most healthy food. And this is something that like Coach Tries is told about, like, just make sure that your macros like for breakfast and lunch are solid, and then you'll be good. So like, like for example, like, I'll just try to eat like chicken breast, a lot of Greek yogurt, chia seeds, like one or two protein shakes. So like, that for example, like chicken breast, yogurt, chia seeds, like and then like a couple of protein shakes, like that is like my foundational food intake for like every single day. Like I can eat all those things every single day, but then like, gives you flexibility to like, eat Pan Express. Like, I can order orange chicken and feel like I'm not like sliding back in all my progress. So, let me know if I can clarify or like elaborate a bit more. But like that's kind of like how I've been seeing my diet.
No, I love that. I think it's all about balance, right? Because we have friends, we have family, we want to eat all our favorite foods. I mean, you're in K Town. I asked you, hey, what's a good spot to eat in K Town? And you gave me all these suggestions. And I think we all have to have a balance of eating good food. And Asian food is pretty relatively healthy. So, my thing is, I want to clarify is like, were you able to eat the foods that you love? The Asian food, the noodle dishes, the rice dishes. I mean, you're the king of Costco, right? So were you able to
Oh
really
yeah.
go through and cook your own meals and be like, okay, cool, I'm not on a diet anymore. I feel like I can, it's a little bit calorie deficit. I'm still eating less than what I need to be eating, but I'm still adhering to a diet that works. So I guess my final question is like, were you able to eat Asian food, rice, noodles, all your favorite food?
Was I still able to eat all the Asian food that I was able to? Yeah, like, I totally agree. Like, Asian food is by design fairly healthy. And I think it's just because like we're so exposed to, kind of like the Western style of thinking that we just think like, oh, like Asian food is kind of like this like no man's land where like we don't really know like if our mom's cooking, like what are the macros for that, or like if it's actually healthy. Like we just, when we think back to like when we were kids and they have like this like food pyramid thing, like it doesn't have anything that's like Asian. Like it's all just like milk, cheese, like bread, like like there's like we don't really think about it. But then I think like through the program, like I started to like see that like like Asian food doesn't have to be in this like gray area, like no man's land. Like, oh, like if you're like, it's almost like when whenever you go out to like an Asian restaurant or like you cook Asian food, it's kind of like jumping off the deep end of the pool. Like you have no idea like what's gonna happen. So in many, like I think like definitely with the foundation of the training program, it's definitely at least taught me to see Asian food in a different light. Or like for example, if I'm making like stir fried noodles, like never thinking about like taking something away, but then just adding more veggies, like not using so much oil, like using a little bit less stir fry sauce than like you might have or take in at a restaurant. So I think it's like, sorry if I'm like rambling a little bit,
No,
but
you're good.
um,
So I think the biggest point for you is like you're more self-aware of what you're actually putting in your body and what goes into Asian food, and being aware that hey, this is healthy, but how can we modify this to make it hit our goals and help us reach our goals?
right, exactly.
Yeah, love it. Last couple of things, Gary, is like, we have Coach Fives on board. He's been taking care of training, nutrition, and myself, I'm here to keep you accountable, making sure that you're good to go, more on the relationship side, mindset. What was it like working with myself and having Coach Fives take care of your training, nutrition for you?
I think like it was a really nice balance where you have like two people that are there to support you for like different aspects. Opposed with Coach Fives, like he's like freaking jacked. So like I never doubted him for a second in terms of like what he told me in terms of nutrition and like exercises. Like sometimes it'd be like a little bit much, but then I still trusted the process and it ended up working out for me pretty well. And then from the side of you, like definitely getting that support and like, really bring that context in of like fitness and nutrition from like an Asian perspective. And I thought it was really nice. And yeah, definitely like a good like balance of like both aspects of like fitness and wellness.
Love it. Last thing before we go, Gary, is, a lot of guys who have seen my Instagram, my ads, they're on the fence about this. And you were the same way. It's like we got on a call, and we're like, okay, it's going to be X amount of money, it's going to be time invested, there's going to be energy invested to get the results you want. For the guys that are on the fence, that are like, man, this seems really good. This seems too good to be true. I don't know if I should hop on, try to find something else. What is your final thought to someone who's looking to get in shape, to get lean without giving up their favorite foods, but has tried a lot of things and are like, man, I feel hopeless. What are your lasting impressions to say to a young Asian American guy or even an older man like looking to get in shape, to get lean, and has seen all my content or has tried a lot of things, but just hasn't pulled the trigger yet.
Yeah, I think it's really, like you said, like really just pulling the trigger when you see an opportunity like this come around. Like, I guess up until I started the program, I was probably like about 8 months into like really serious, like, somewhat seriously working out. And then I feel like in the 4 months that I was in the program, like I feel like I made so much progress where like I forget like all the previous 8 months was just like a blur. Like I don't really think about it. Like the previous 4 months have just done so much more than like what I've been able to do individually. So like while I can concede, like, like starting out, like I was just thinking about like, oh, like all these things I have to do, like the financial commitment and all these other commitment things and for the program. But then really like it'll set you up for success and it'll set you up for success and it'll give you more value and like lasting impact that I feel is just like kind of like intangible. Like you can't really like put like a dollar figure on that. And honestly, yeah, I feel like money well spent, because if you imagine like if you kind of go a different trajectory, like you could be spending like a lot more money over a longer period of time trying to figure all this out for yourself and maybe eventually figuring it out or like not. So I just feel like having this program that's like been proven to be successful and like, it's like you have like, sorry, there's like a helicopter going on, but like, like you just have a program where like it has so many success stories. And if it doesn't generally doesn't work out for you, like, definitely like the guarantee of like getting your money back if it doesn't work for you, like I think that should be enough to try it. Like there's no risk. Like either you end up with like all those success stories or it doesn't work out and you just try something else that does work for you. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, love it, brother. Hey, man, great to see you here, and I appreciate you for trusting me, trusting Asian Boss Boy, trusting Coach Fies. Like, bro, it's been a pleasure. I mean, man, it was so good to see you in Seattle. Hopefully, I'll see you in LA,
I'll be
man.
back.
Yeah, come
I'll be
back.
back. I'll be back. We can just hang out and we can just work out.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. Thank you for everything, man.